What are you at? It's Paul from Wicked Acorn. Darren, most definitely not a Martin. One second, I'm responding to some comments. I've been having a conversation with Darren here on in the comments. So please leave a comment, join in the chat here. I just want to show Darren my guitar. This is a 35-pound Telecaster that I painted myself. It's sadly, it replaced a 1974 Telecaster, a real American Fender 1974 Telecaster. It wasn't getting played enough, and I needed some cash. So that was the replacement, a 35-pound. Uh, it's not even a Fender. It has Fender written on it, but it's not a Fender. It looks like a kit. Anyway, good morning and welcome aboard. Um, Today in history, August 6th, of course, the big thing that happened today in history is August 6, 1945. Everybody remembers this day in history. The atomic bomb dropped on Japan today in history. Now I have to bring up another screen here, so I'm going to lose the comments for a moment. Yeah, it was dropped by a U.S. B-29 Superfortress Enola Gay. It was oh, absolutely terrible, but it entered the news again recently with Trump's anti-DEI foolishness, and Enola Gay was stricken from history for a moment because it had gay in the name. The poor people of America. The people are all right, I guess, but their leader leaves a little to be desired, in my opinion. But yeah, that's what happened this day in history, in August 6th. But there are several other things I found here. I searched this day in history, and when I search through these things, I come across all kinds of interesting things, and I'll kind of go through them chronologically. This was something we talked about yesterday. This is John Cabot, and he discovered Newfoundland. Not this day in history, but this day in history, he arrived back in Bristol after discovering Newfoundland. Um, so that was in 1497. Another thing that came up a few days ago is Anne Lee. Anne Lee was the founder of the Shaker religion, and she was born and raised in Manchester. And on this day in history, she arrived in New York. Strange things you find on this day in history. 1915, I don't have a photo of this one, but 1915, the British land more troops at Suvla Bay on the northern shore of Gallipoli in an effort to break the stalemate on the peninsula during World War I. And that was a catastrophe. That didn't work out too well at all. The Newfoundland Regiment was at Gallipoli, and they covered the retreat when they all left. They, had guns set up that would fire automatically with weight watered timers and things like that so it would seem like there were still people there even though they had all left. The guns would continue firing. So the Newfoundland Regiment were one of the last to leave. And I just recently discovered that the Salford Regiment, I don't remember the name of the Salford Regiment, was at Gallipoli as well. So that's something I wanted to look into. 1942, this day in history. I just made a note of this because I'm wondering why it's noteworthy. Canadian destroyer HMCS Assiniboine sinks U-210. So if anyone knows anything about that. This is a good one, a little light-hearted one. 1960, this day in history. Chubby Checker performs his version of Hank Ballard's The Twist on the Dick Clark Show, starting a worldwide dance craze. I'm sure everybody has done the twist at some point in their life. 1964, another interesting one that I don't have a photo of, but this one was interesting, so I made a note of it here. 1964, this day in history. Prometheus, the world's oldest tree, aged at least 4,862 years, is accidentally cut down in Nevada, USA. Now, how the hell does that happen? How do you accidentally cut down a 5,000-year-old tree? So that's something I want to look into. 1965 is US President LBJ. He signs the Voting Rights Act prohibiting voting discrimination against minorities. So just 100 years after Lincoln freed the slaves, they got free and equal vote. Another one, this is not chronological here, but in 1890, murderer William Kemmler becomes the first person executed by electric chair at Auburn Prison in New York. And that's just a segue into the video we're going to watch today, because we're going to talk about not this day in history. It is responding to a comment here from Darren, baby with the laser. Little fact for you, the plane that filmed the Bikini Atoll atomic bomb test overexposed sits on top of the moors outside Gloucester. Oh, is that right? Yes, I knew that there was a B-29 up there. I didn't know it was the involved in that. Interesting. Yeah, that's something I've been meaning to go see someday. 1890, the first electric chair execution, and there was a real rivalry between Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. Edison was backing DC, direct current, and Tesla was backing alternating current, AC. And Tesla worked for Edison at one point, and yes, the same Tesla named after the car is named after. And they were real rivals. And at the time, there hadn't been a type of electricity decided on that we would use in our homes. Edison was promoting direct current, and Tesla was promoting alternating current. And to show people how dangerous alternating current was, Edison invented the electric chair. That was one of his inventions, just to give bad press to alternating current. Look at how dangerous alternating current is. You don't want this stuff in your house. So that was very dangerous, and very dangerous to be sat in an electric chair, no doubt. And yeah, electricity's dangerous. Direct current or alternating current, doesn't much matter which one. They're both dangerous if treated improperly, but of course all those things have been ironed out these days, most of those things. All right, catch you later, Darren. Yes, I have received your email, and I'll get back to you about that. Um, the electric chair, yeah. Hmm. But today in history, actually not today in history, it was the 9th of August, but we're not going to be here on the 9th, so I thought I'd cover it today. There was an execution at Strangeways prison, and it was the execution of the first female at Strangeways. And it's a strange little story. Sorry for laughing. It's a strange little story, and I'll tell you more about it at the end. Um, Mary Ann Britland was her name, first woman executed at Strangeways. And I made this, I don't know, a couple years ago when I was doing like a bicycle-a-thon, raising funds for prostate cancer research. So don't go looking for the link there. I may do it again this year, although we're 6 days into it, but I may do it again this year. I've just been so busy. Um, so I was making a video every day, and that's what this is all about, doing this live stream. The only way to learn how to do stuff is to do it, because it's all fine and dandy to know that the C hotkey changes it to that scene, but if I don't practice it, I will never be able to do it live in front of the camera while broadcasting to the world. Okay, let's get our video going. So I have to press C, and then we'll roll our video. And as I said, this was I was making a video every day until I completed the bicycle-a-thon. Is that a word, bicycle-a-thon? I don't know, marathon, bicycle-a-thon? I was doing a video every day while I was doing it, and it was really intense to try and record and produce a video every day. But like I said, the only way to learn is to just do things, and put that in your pipe and smoke it, because it's a good motto. You know, the only way to learn is do. Okay, let's get our video going here, and just keep that in mind. This video was completely completed in one day. The whole thing, beginning to end.
Today in Greater Manchester history, August 9th, 1886, Mary Ann Britland was executed at Strangeways prison for not having mice in her house. But first we need to go for a bike ride.
I've got so much work to get done today, and the adventure I had planned has fallen apart, but that gives me an opportunity to get some of this work done. So let's get at it. Don't you love it when all the weeds are the same height? So if you're just showing up here for the first time, this is not what we usually do here. We are, at the moment, cycling 100 miles for prostate cancer research. He's ready! So, the newest member of our brew crew.
It's Lord Leonardo.
Okay, at this point in the Yeah, that's if you want to join the Brew Crew and help us out with our adventures here, like paying for tram tickets and trips over to look at that B-29 bomber on the moors outside Glossop. That's something I'd like to see. I don't believe there's a lot of it left there, but there is some wreckage up there, so it is something I want to go see. And yeah, so buy a mug. They're lovely mugs. This is well, that's not that is a John Johnson Hunt mug. He's a firefighter that lost his life here in Sale. But we do a lot of these. Can you see that? Manchester Bee. That's a mosaic I made of a. It was a table, quite a large table, bigger than this. And yeah, the bee is the symbol of Manchester, as you may know. So those are quite popular. And on the back, you can get your name put on it as well. On the back of this one, I have the Brew Crew. So you can join the Brew Crew. Everybody needs a mug for your tea. I hope there's tea drinkers out there. So let's just rewind a little bit there, because I'm about to make a very clever segue.
Ardo. Okay, at this point in the movie, you have to pretend that I did a really clever segue. Cue the spooky music. Britlin's story would be a classic tale of unrequited love if it weren't for the 3 people she murdered with rat poison. Britlin was 38 years old and lived with her husband, Thomas, at 92 Turner Lane, Ashton-under-Lyne, opposite Mary and Thomas Dixon. Britlin was incredibly fond of Thomas Dixon and feared her daughter had realized she wanted to marry him. In March 1886, she bought Harris's Vermin Killer, containing strychnine and arsenic, to murder her daughter, Elizabeth Hannah, 19 that month, and husband, 44, in May. Britlin quickly claimed Elizabeth's 10-pound life insurance, as well as her husband's, following the deaths. Shocked by the deaths in such quick succession, Mary and Thomas Dixon let Britlin into their home before she killed Mary Dixon with more poison. The 3 deaths could no longer be dismissed as coincidence, and the police investigated Britlin for their murders. At her 2-day trial in July, Britlin argued that the insurance payments were too small to be a motive, but the lack of mice in her house damned her. Britlin had to be helped walk to the gallows by 2 male guards. She died on August 9th, 1886. Now, I'm no lawyer, and I don't mean to make light of this story, but isn't having rat poison evidence that you may have used it and you don't have mice anymore? That story reminds me of the old shed we had in Canada. There were rats in it, so I bought some rat poison and didn't have time to deal with it. So I laid it on the shelf and said, I'll come back to that and put that out later. About a week passed and I came back and went over to the shelf, and there was the box of rat poison eaten open. The rats had gotten into it, and I went, oh, those bloody rats, they've gone and gotten into that rat poison before I had a chance to... Oh, wait a minute. Anyway, I guess we'll get around to that bike ride at some point. I guess I'm going to have to do it on the static bike. I don't know. If only I could be in 2 places at one time, Whoa! Hey, how's it going? Not bad. Right, how many miles have you done? 5.2. Cool. How many are you going to do? 10. Excellent. Don't forget to get a shower after. I guess we'll see you in the next one.
So that was a strange story. Uh, she was the first woman executed at Strangeways, and I just looking at some information here. Like many families at the time, the Britlands had small life insurance policies which would cover the cost of a simple funeral for each member. In their case, with the Prudential Insurance Company. 19-year-old Elizabeth was to be the first of Marianne's victims. It was thought that Elizabeth suspected that her mother was having an affair with Thomas Dixon. She became ill with severe stomach cramps on the evening of Monday, the 8th of March, 1886, and because of or despite her mother's attentions, died 2 days later in great agony. Um, uh, yeah, okay, let's see. She died 2 days later in agony. No inquest was held at, and the death certificate signed by the family doctor, Dr. Thompson, gave the cause as vomiting, convulsions, and spasms of the heart. Mary was able to collect £10 from the insurance company upon Elizabeth's death. As was normal at the time, most areas had a usually middle-aged or old lady who laid out the dead. In this case, it was Mrs. Sarah Lloyd, and she noticed that Elizabeth's hands were tightly clenched. Interestingly, the doctor hadn't noticed this particular symptom, so I guess that's a symptom of strychnine poisoning. Um, but it's such a strange tale. I mean, I have no doubt from the story. She confessed to it before she was hanged. She confessed to the murders, but it's so strange. The damning evidence, which just seems so ridiculous to me. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but uh, it just seems so ridiculous. If I was a lawyer at the case, I would have argued um, the, the damning evidence was that she had rat poison, but she didn't have any rats in her house. Yeah, because she used the rat poison. That would be your argument as a defense lawyer, wouldn't it? There's no rats because she used the rat poison. Because she bought several boxes of rat poison to do the deed. Um, Rick Ainsworth said to me once, we were talking about doing uh, going in the cemetery, the Salem Brooklyn Cemetery or the St. Martin's Cemetery, and talking about some of the former residents of Sale here. And he said, but I don't want to be that cemetery guy. And I know exactly what he means. Like on YouTube, you really have to specialize in what you do. And I don't. I just talk about general history, uh, which is why the channel is not as big as it could be. But yeah, you really have to specialize. There was a joke first when the internet started coming into being. There was a comedian that did a joke. Uh, Good morning. Well, there's Rick. I'm talking about Rick, and there he is. He must have heard me. Um, Talking about the stuff you can find anything on the internet. And he said, I typed in sex with goats, and the internet typed back specify type of goat. Um, and that's what it's like. You really have to specialize on YouTube, and I don't really want to do that. I like doing whatever. So that's what I do. Whatever's of interest to me at the moment, that's what I do. And there's another interesting story, and I brought that up to tell you about Um, Margaret Bill Allen. That was a story. I actually have this video. This video is actually nearly complete. And Margaret Bill Allen was, I think she was the second woman executed at Strangeways, and that was in the late 40s. You forgive me, it's been a long time since I looked at this video, and it was almost complete, and I didn't finish it. Uh, I got into not an argument with my daughter, but we got into a heavy conversation about this story, and it made me rethink it. So I have to revisit it at some point. I had to spend some time away from this story to get a perspective to how I was going to approach doing it. But Margaret Bill Allen, Bill, I keep saying Bill because she was trans. He was trans, whatever the case may be. Um, she lived as a man. He lived as a man, but she was born as a woman. Margaret Allen. She was the 20th child, you can see there in this newspaper article. She was the 20th child in a family of 22, which I guess wasn't so unusual back in the 1800s when she was born. Um, it's the story took place in Rottenstall, and he murdered a, a friend, not the woman in the photo. There, Bill is the person on the right in that photo, and very strange person according to all accounts. And yeah, ended up being a murderer. Um, but yeah, a difficult life and ended up murdering a friend. And very strange story. Very interesting story, considering how much this whole trans thing is in the news these days. And it's nothing new. There have always been trans people, always. And here's evidence right here in the 1940s in Rottenstall, small town near Manchester. And yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that story. We'll come back to that at some point. But I have some more photos here. I said I was going to do this to see if you guys could identify these places. Now, this is a really difficult one, and I don't think you're going to get it. I don't think you're going to get this one. Uh, I'll show that one first because that is probably the most recognizable of these are all of the same place. I got 3 or 4 photos here of the same place, and that's in 1970-ish, I believe. So does somebody remember that place with cannons and looks like some kind of park or something? Uh, this is the same place. I believe this photo is in the 30s or 20s. And you notice the windmill in the background there. That's interesting. Never seen a windmill like that. It seems like a cowboy western kind of thing. But I guess you had them here too. This is the same place, but of course you'd never recognize that. And this is one of the residents on the right there. You wouldn't know that, of course. And this is some of the staff of that house I just showed you. But of course, you wouldn't know any of those things unless you were related and had those photos on your mantle. You wouldn't know those. But this one and this one you may be able to recognize. And they are um, here in Sale. These 2 photos here in Sale. And I'll give you a clue. It's a question I raised a little while ago in the Roman Road when I was doing reconnaissance for the Roman Road video. And it has something to do with a brewery. So I will leave that little tease for you to think on. And hopefully somebody can get it. It's a really hard one. I don't know if anyone will get that one. Uh, all right. Um, yeah, so I haven't gotten anything done with this mosaic. I've been yammering on. So I need to get some work done. Got a whole bunch of things to do. Oh, our adventure yesterday. Wow, what a great place I visited yesterday. And you'll see video of that coming up. I don't know when, whenever I get it done. And it's wow, beautiful. What an amazing place. And I'll probably show you some clips here live at some point next week. And yeah, what a great place. And I think tomorrow we're going to look at some of the um, Bridgewater Canal, the Sail Cruising Club video. We'll look at some of that. Okay, I got to get some things done, and so do you. So we'll see you in the next one.